and sharing the content with the students is becoming a very big challenge for the teachers. And day by day, what is happening is even it is become more challenging nowadays because the process of evaluation is now drastically changing into a different aspects. Right, even the evaluation content, the evaluation scripts are to be given to the student, those who appeared for the exam, and they can give it to a comfortable faculty and they can evaluate, they can identify the difference, they can go for revaluation. There are a lot of process, academic process. Because the fact is that nowadays higher responsibilities are in the hands of the teacher, but the societal value is day by day getting reduced. The greater understanding here is it is not the content, it is not the subject matter what is being taught. It is more than the subject. Because if you want to understand a theory, if you want to understand a theorem, if you want to understand a subject, there are a lot of various methods of learning nowadays available. Previously, we can say the students are not encouraged to bring mobile phone and or laptop or net connectivity to the classroom. Nowadays, every academic institute are providing internet connection, laptop and mobile phone inside the class. So here, what is happening in the modern trend? How this GenZ community generation, right? The people who are born after, because they are all tech savvy. Without technology, they cannot live. Right? But when you look into the older days, the previous generations, we can see that the generation live without much information sharing and without much time to unnecessarily spend on technology, but they are all effective and they are all managed effectively and they are running the show in a successful manner and they run the show in a successful manner. But now what is happening with the help of the technology? So this Gen Z generation, and we look into them, they all take decision with the help of the data driven. Right? Specifically, when you go to work culture with this generation, this young generation, they all take up decision with the help of data. Because whatever data you want, now you can get it on the net and you can do your own analysis, your own way of interpretation, your own method of managing it. But only thing what matters is what is the final decision with which we are taking. Even we can say nowadays the classroom sessions are being recorded and being to students. So now the fact here is what we have to understand is whether the content is delivered inside the classroom or more than the content, there is something else which is delivered inside the classroom. It is not only the content. If you are looking only for the content, you can just video record it. You can run at your own pace of time. You can see it in a comfortable way, right, while you are traveling or while you are busy with some other task. But the fact is that once learning becomes disciplined, right, the learning becomes disciplined, then only the fact of achievement is possible. So here, the increasing access to the internet, right? So nowadays, we are living in the internet world. We can say that thanks to Corona for giving such a wonderful opportunity, or otherwise, I don't think so. This type of online learning will take up in India even after 5 to 10 years. But because of Corona gave us COVID-19 gave us a fantastic lesson and a drastic change in the teaching learning process. Not only in teaching learning, in various fields of study, it has dramatically changed the way in which people work, except the manufacturing industry where the physical presence is required. So here, when you look into this, specifically the social media has created participation of safe deliberation.
ஆமா மேம் பயங்கரமா இன்ஸ்ட்ரக்ஷன்லாம்
Okay, fine. So here, the internet usage over the years has become a abusement to few people, and for few of us it is an opportunity, and for few it becomes a threat. So here what we are looking into this is how we are managing the internet and the internet resources. Previous day we are searching for information. Now we can say that the information is overloaded. So here I think so few of the psychology people who are all expert and able to understand this imposter syndrome, which says that always people live in the world of comparison, right? So how I compare myself? So what I know, if you are capable of understanding what I know, that means what you know, then you are well versed into the field of understanding that to what extent you can able to manage in the field of technology in the digital era, right? Though digital media and network have enhanced global connection and communication, but here exchange of ideas, right? Say today we can able to see that governments and government agency, government bodies are now trying to intervene into the process of communication. They monitor the social media, they monitor the exchange of thoughts happening between the field of internet exchange, and it becomes easy for the technocrats to monitor, because it is very easy nowadays with the help of the advanced technology available for cyber professionals, right? It becomes easy for one to monitor what aspects is being done on the internet world and what we are really doing on the internet world. So here what is this syndrome says, what you know, right? Nowadays with the help of this artificial intelligence, right? Even when you start typing into your home laptop or your own computers, once when you start typing a keyword, the system is capable of giving you suggestions. But can you understand, it should not overtake you, because if you think that system will do everything, then we become totally technology dependent. So what is the reality is, what is this syndrome says, if you are capable of understanding what you know, and if you also know that what others know, if there is a mutual concern, right? Because now we are changing from a different world, because now students have been given, now the learners have been given an opportunity to learn at a faster pace, if they are capable, if they are potential, and also they can able to inner the process of learning the subject matter online, and locally they can able to transfer their knowledge, and they can come prepared to any class as they are in the process of the digital age. So this digital age is a very big challenge, where the learners have given an opportunity to understand, as well as to migrate from one step of learning into the another process, and giving them a comfort zone. So here making the learning a challenging aspects, and looking into the value of real learning, because the teaching learning process is mainly focused on to what extent we have successfully delivered the subject content, And nowadays, what we are looking into is, rather than looking into subject delivery only, they are looking into making the person to understand the real depth meaning of the content, what is being chosen. So that is why even we can able to see in even the question papers nowadays, we can see there are different varieties of question which a question paper setter has to set. I think so all of you agree on this. We have to set the lower level question, we have to set lower order question, middle order question, higher order question, and question out of the subject matter related to the subject matter, so that the student can think, so that the learner can think and relate it to the common understanding of what is the application of this subject in the real world. So to that extent, nowadays, the delivery mechanism is expected. So these type of things are possible once if you understand the real local values, the real problem of the society. If you simply sit on the internet world, we can be able to understand the global scenario. But what is happening in my locality, in my location, in my area, in my state, in my district, you have to be familiar. So here, what is the assumption and what is the reality? If you think that you are expert in the subject, it is fine. If you think that others are idiot, then that becomes a question mark. If you think that you are a subject expert, and if you think others are also equally expert, then we will have a fruitful learning and we will have a fruitful discussion among the classroom. And specifically, these type of things previously happened in PG courses, or we can say in research courses, or in research. Right, a research scholar will have a argument with a guide. It is not in terms of argument in terms of subject matter. Right, at the end of the day, who wins is not a matter. To what extent you make the scholar to understand the depth of the knowledge or the depth of the topic which he or she has chosen. Now we can able to see those type of things are also happening in the undergraduate classes also, and in some areas even in school education also these things are happening, because they are being widely exposed. The young generation are widely exposed with the help of the technology, and they are getting a wide spread of confidence. If the confidence is used for a right purpose, it's well and good. But if the same confidence is being used in a wrong way, then it becomes a threat to the society. So now it becomes a responsibility of the teacher. Right? There are a lot of argument, there are a lot of saying happening that whether AI can teach you everything. AI can teach you everything, but will not teach you ethics and how to live your life, how to adjust with human beings, and how to live your life in a comfortable way. That you can learn by living. That is why when you come to a physical classroom, you can understand from your neighbors, peer learning. So now even few institutes start giving credit to peer learning also. What you are learning from your friends, what you are learning from your colleagues, what you are learning from the teachers, what you are learning from other subject experts, right? So that is why even government is now encouraging institutes to be multidisciplinary in nature. And we don't want specialized institute. We don't want specialized universities. They are looking into multidisciplinary universities, multidisciplinary institutes. A student must be exposed to history as well as engineering, as well as medicine, as well as agriculture, music, sports, and everything. He must be exposed. Because looking into these aspects, right? So what normally these generation are doing, they wake up early in the morning and first to check the social media. Once when you check up the social media, I'm damn sure unless you fine tune your mobile phone or your laptop or whatever device you have with you, if you fine tune itself to give you a positive news or a good news to you, I'm damn sure it will give you all sort of things which are happening illegally in the society and which is not at all relevant to you and which is not required for you in the early morning to start up your task. Because the systems are fine-tuned in such a way that what you frequently view, right, the system is capable of understanding it. Nowadays, there are a lot of programs being done. A lot of research is going into these aspects, right, based on the type of search what you do, based on the type of frequency of usage of a specific device in a controlled manner. So the digital media is now dominating into this field and even is triggering a person to take up decisions. And understand the fact is that it influences the decision making capacity of the individuals. So as a faculty member, we have to understand that this young generation, they have a whether we can say a fantastic device or a device of nonsense, we don't know how to name it. They have that device in their hand and it is connected to the world. It gives whatever they want. It is only the matter of how they use it. So now it becomes our responsibility to fine tune this generation, how they are taking up decision and how they are managing the device in their hands. I'm not sure whether this generation is being taught on how to use a mobile phone, right? But they have been taught on how to drive a car, because for that government is giving license. Without license, no one can drive a car now. But
Sir,
Sir, you are not audible, sir.
Sir, you're not audible, sir. Sir?
Madam, it's audible now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. So here, when you look into this digital media, right, these people have been technologically driven. Even sitting in the classroom, sitting in the learning environment, rather than saying classroom, now they are saying it is a learning environment, right? Making them, it is very hard to make them to visit a library because they say everything is available in Google. We say, yeah, Google, everything is available, but you cannot search as you require and you cannot get whatever you require. Like if you are really looking into a subject which you want to learn, we have to teach them the difference between visiting a library and searching the same content inside a digital library. The fact is that once when you go to the library, we have to make them understand that we are seeing the various varieties of subjects physically, where we are, even though we are searching for a specific content, sometimes our mind may cross track and it can enter into other subject areas and it will relate to those areas. But into the social media, what is happening is they are having lot of distractions. The same thing is happening in the social media also. But here, the difference is, here distraction is high, whereas in a physical mode, the learning is high. But it is again based on the user. Suppose if the user is capable, if the user is potential of neglecting this distraction, I'm damn sure that digital media is going to give them a better results. That is 100% sure. But the digital media will always try to influence. So they try to manipulate all these aspects and make sure that this global transformation is taking place into a physical mode and loading all these aspects into a physical form of living. So here we can able to see the cultural change. The main thing is that what we have to understand is there is a drastic cultural change which happens. So understanding into these aspects, we have to understand the reality, right? We have to understand how people are making use of this technology, specifically this young generation, and how they are managing it for making the internet and engage them with the global transformation and digitally managing them in terms of cultural text and experiences. See, the way of communication has been changed, right? The way in which people talk have been changed. Even day by day, I am learning on using emojis. Day by day, we are learning using abbreviated terms, right? For few terms, we are not in a position to exactly what is the thing which they are trying to communicate. We have to go and search and understand what that means, because we don't know whether it is making them to feel easy or it is tech savvy. Nowadays, people started using short terms, abbreviated terms. The communication method has been changed. The communication formalities are being changed. And there is a change in the cultural transformation worldwide. And the youngsters are arguing what is wrong in that. See, the content has to be delivered, the message to be shifted from one part to another part. Why you are looking into the process of communication? But in older days, there is significant importance to the process of communication. The value of communication is also important, and as well as the process of communication is also important. It is not only the content, it is more than that. So, but this generation is not ready to accept, right? They say, see, what we are looking into is only one aspect, what is being given and what is to be understood. So then we can able we are not in a position to able to understand them. Then that becomes a gap. So if we go along with them, if we travel along with them, this younger generation, and we understand what they are looking for, right? They are not in a position for a standard pragmatic approach. So what they are looking into is their different lifestyle, right? They are looking for comfort, because previous days, I think so most of you can understand, getting a light and a fan and a book becomes a challenge. Then becomes now this generation are living in a world of internet with a laptop, mobile phone, AC, everything inside a room, and even the food is delivered inside the room, and their restrooms are very nearby, and the bed is nearby, right? Even they can walk only few steps, and they can get everything satisfied. But whether this is a healthy condition or not. Sir, others, sir, if you have any queries, you are most welcome to ask. But if you are talking,
Sorry, sir, I muted the mic, sir.
no issue at all, madam. This is the problem with the technology, right?
Yes, sir.
It's
Yes, sir.
technology
It was,
learning.
actually unmuted.
No issue at all. Sometimes even my cell phone also, my mobile phone, my laptop also, whenever I get a call, it got automatically muted. So you just remind me if it got muted also, because we have to be aware about all this process, or otherwise we cannot able to manage this type of. But this young generation, they are all capable of doing this. Only
Yes.
people who are all not well versed with this technology face this type of problems. So what this young generation is looking into is they are not asking for a standard approach. They are very keen. They are very clever, and they understand the real problem to the core in-depth level. But the decision what they are taking is right or wrong has to be delivered over a period of time, and make them to understand the reality that it is not the way of decision what you are doing. It is a decision which is not affecting others also. If it is totally depending on the system, it is okay. But even there are a lot of people who are on the social media and facing a lot of challenges because they are very well concerned about the environmental issues, right? When you look into this younger generation, even when we ask them to go out and play, right, they are hesitating it. They say it is not required because this young generation always wants to win. Right? Even we can say the young generation, they play cricket inside a mobile phone, but not in a physical mode. The key advantage here is they can sit in a AC room and play cricket. And another main advantage is if they are going to fail, they will switch it off and they will restart it. Right? So they are not ready to face the real challenge. They are not ready to face failures. But what is the reality? The reality you have to face ups and downs in the life. You have to face success. You have to celebrate success as well as you have to tolerate failures. Because the life will have success and failure. One person cannot always be successful in life, and no one is always will have failures in life. So here, but this young generation is entirely putting everything into a mode of discussion, right? Some people say it is argumental mode. It is meant for discussion. They say why you are wasting your time on Diwali crackers. Right? They say it is environmental uh, pollution, and they say we are not ready to go for crackers. But using a plastic bag, they say it is comfortable. And when we say it is environment, they say no, it is comfortable, and hence I am using it. So what they are really meaning it? But there are few people who understand that it is environment, it is against environment, so I don't use plastic bags. I use my own bags and I use my own things to carry my necessary things. If you say plastic is going to be of environmental against the environmental issues, then people are started on arguing that why it is being manufactured, and there are a lot of consequences into that, right? We can able to educate, and we can say that it is not the matter of convenience, it is matter of to what extent you understand the reality and you apply it. So this generation, they look into the social aspects, right? So now we can able to see this generation, we can say more than 60 to 70% are in the Instagram, Thread, and X platforms, where they upload the content and looking for the number of likes and not looking into the number of dislikes. Right? If you load a content in your social media, last week one of my friend has loaded a content. There are a lot of negative thoughts about that, and he said that it is welcome. Let me learn what others are thinking about the content. What is what is cracking my mind for a longer term, and why I am into this profession, what I am trying to do, what I am trying to deliver. So here the fact is that social media, because others are commenting without showing the real identity. Sometimes they openly comment and say this is the real fact. You can understand the reality from various aspects. So this is not because this is totally across the globe. So what is happening at one part, the other person are also viewing it. So it is a large scale global transformation and digitally mediated through different cultures. Right. So in order to understand it, now we are shifting from one style of communication to another style of communication, because my participants are asking for such a demand thought provoking standardized solutions. And in the field of technology, you can able to get assistance, and we can make use of the technology to assist our decision making process. But The risk here is once when you totally depend on technology, and once when you say whatever the technological decision is going to be right and it is going to be balanced, then people will automatically identify us that we are using the contents, the techniques available in the internet, and there is no meaning, there is no extraordinary learning happening into the sessions. So here, what we have to understand the fact is that the communication style and the image building process, because communication is very fundamental in nature, but nowadays it is having impact in the social life. So within the given time, within the given framework, one has to communicate in a successful manner what is being expected to deliver and in what method it is being delivered and how effectively it is being delivered. So here, the process of communicating with this young generation entirely changed. And it means that the word, what we use, and even when we look into the people who are using common terms, a general vocabulary, and the words which are commonly in use, once we start using that in the process of communication, people can understand it easily and it is readily communicable. But there are few people who use hard words. That means not hard words, the words which are less frequently used, and they start communicating. What will happen? The people will look into every word, the meaning they have to identify, the combination of words they have to understand, and the role of understanding the reality becomes a very big challenge, and it becomes a mandatory for a person who is going to deliver the content to understand the audience and choose the word accordingly. Because the society, the globalized society, we have to understand the social and the environmental issues. If you understand the issues, how we are going to manage this in a society which is socially responsible. Previously, people are not exposed that much to a social relevance. But nowadays, social relevance is given significant importance, and environmental issues are highly given importance by the government as well as by the individuals. So what this generation is looking for, when you move forward, first aspect is from the learning perspective. And once the learner has completed the process and is ready for the work, but nowadays, kindly understand, this process is being, the lifetime is being shortened. Previous day, the grandfather, the grandmother, they live for 100 years, right? And they have a comfortable life, and they are not seen any sort of medical complaints. But now what is happening? The lifespan, people are saying medically being increased, but actually with a lot of discomfort. Right? Now we are saying 75, 80 is the lifespan of an average Indian, of an average person. So what is happening now is with a lot of medical treatments, a lot of medicine and other things, now they are using a word called as stress. Right? And I'm very shocked to see the word stress, which is being used in class 3 also. Right? Previously gray hairs in this Indian environment, we can see a senior faculty member will have gray hair because he's an expert into the field, and he say a lot of work has been done. Bald headedness will come, and hair fall will be taken place. But now what is happening at the age of 7, 8 or 10, this gray hair are coming, whether it is because of the internal mechanism being happened or it is because of the stress. And even we can able to see a student, a beginner, even we can say he is not a student, right? He's a beginner, is now saying that he's feeling stressed. We don't know what is a real meaning of stress is, right? Even we can say daily breathing become a stressful exercise nowadays. Nowadays, there are a lot of experts available on giving training of breathing. So we are now living in a different world, in a different perspective, where when we want to communicate between people, we have to choose the appropriate words. We have to use the appropriate language, and we have to appropriate method. We have to use the appropriate mode also. So this generation, what is happening is when you look into the balance of work and the personal life, right? We can see that there, even though there are a lot of people who clearly classify and differentiate between work and the personal life, but there are few people who take both things as one and confuse with them, and there are a lot of good and bad things happening because of this. But this young generation is very clear. They say we work for 5 days a week, Saturday, Sunday is holiday. So don't talk about any official matter on leave days. But can I say don't talk about any personal matter during office days, during office hours? I don't think so. So here, but this generation are very clear and keen stating that this is what my task is, this is what how I will do, this is what I will deliver, and this is what is expected from you. But the practical life is entirely different. Once when they are moving inside the reality, they are moving inside the real world, they are understanding how difficult it is and how challenging it is. There is nothing wrong in having a clear differentiation between the work and the personal life, right? There is no harm in differentiating, but make sure that you are not mixing your personal life with your work, and you are not mixing your work with your personal life. Never take your job, work, nature to your home. The same thing, never take your homework to your professional environment. But to what extent it is possible? If there is a problem in the home, that will automatically reflect in the office. If there is a problem in the office, it automatically reflects at home. But it should not have a major effect. We have to address it in a polite way, and we have to manage it in a successful way, and state that if you are a human being, you have to inner all this process, and you have to undergo all this in a successful manner in order to have a complete man. I'm so sorry to use the word man, right? In order to have a complete person, because nowadays gender becomes an important issue. So here, when you look into the teenagers, they are looking into a unique way of handling and treating them. They are into a period of transition and identity search in the digital era. So if you want to understand, right, Swami Vivekananda previously says, you show me your friend, I will say who you are. Now the same saying is being in a different manner. You open up your social media, I will say who you are, right? Based on the type of friends what you are having in the social media, and the content what you are being uploading it, and to what extent you are commenting to others people reactions, can able to say what your inner mind is and what is really the content inside is. So this redefining is taking place now, and maintaining the values and norms in a standardized language. So here, what we have to understand is it is a reaction of the individual that have a significant influence. Right? That is why when you look into any real interview process, right, nowadays a lot of group discussions are taking place in television channels, live group discussion, live telecast. Once when you look into this type of live telecast, you can able to see that the people who are participating in this have been carefully chosen so that they are not entering into an emotional mode. They are not going into a personal task, personal content or personal belief. So the topic what they are choosing is also to be of very careful in nature, and they deliver in such a way that it is being shown in a real life world, that you must be able to understand how to answer a question in a polite way, sometimes even if unethical questions are also asked. Because the process of development and in the digital world, right, anyone who can able to grasp the content faster and do not think much about the consequences, and they overlap with their boundaries, and they can give lot of distractions in the meaning of interaction. Right? They say it is a term of interaction, but actually it may be a distraction. So here, the lack of consequential thinking, we can able to say that this is the key issue in this, because in this generation, the sequential thinking is lacking. The sequential thinking. So the cause and the effect. If I do this, what you will do? If I do this, what is the next step on moving forward? If it is for a good thing, how things will happen? What extent I can take risk, and to what extent I can deliver? Right. So it is the individuals of generation is a, who will have a bad influence on the environment. So if your experience is of negative in nature, people will automatically look into the negative aspects of life. It does not mean the world is full of negative things. It is how we are approaching it. And each generation have their own characteristics and their own ideology, and it is being referred as the characteristics of the generation. So looking into a common term, right, the very familiar term, which this generation is totally technology driven. So if the internet is terminated, if the technology is disconnected, if the mobile phones are disconnected, and if there is no electricity, what will happen and how these people are going to manage? Because even we can say a simple example for easy understanding. When a person wants to go to a specific place, nowadays people open their mobile phone, switch on the internet, to switch on the GPS, search for the location where they want to go. And whatever the Google Map says, they go accordingly, and they are reaching the place on time. Fine. But in older days, 5 years, 10 years before, how people reach the same target without internet, without GPS, right? The mouth is the GPS, the art of communication. But the same art of communication in those days, they managed it effectively, they handled it effectively, they analyzed everything in a systematic manner and reached the destination earlier. Right? Even the technology nowadays are giving us fruitful information which no individuals can give, right? Even it is predicting the traffic and the estimated time is also given. That is not possible without technology. It is true. But making use of it is in the hands of the user. So it will show you different routes and it will say where it is highly traffic, where it is highly congested, and it will probably guide you what is the right direction, what is the right time to start and reach. So to that extent, the technology is now, the softwares are being developed and it is all sophisticated information widely available. So now what we have to understand is we do not want to think much. You learn much on using those devices, using those applications into your device and effectively and successfully use it. Don't think too much. Make the life easier and seek entertainment into your life. And you are into a successful way if you know how to use technology and if you are successfully running it in an advanced technological manner. So here, this generation is looking for a balance in the workplace as well as in their personal life. But the real statistical data are giving us a warning why the number of diverse cases is getting increased day by day. What is the real problem in the society and why such things are not being addressed in a systematic manner. The family life issues. There are a lot of people who say, I don't want to marry. Let me enjoy my life in my own style. I don't want to enter into a family commitment. We don't know to what extent it is acceptable and to what extent it is going to be of social relevance. So kindly understand, we are looking into the social and environmental aspects. And people who are having a different view on the society, right? Because we are trying to adopt a Western culture, we are trying to adapt a culture which is far away from us because we can able to see with the help of the technology and we are preoccupied with the social media every day. So from morning to evening, we are being occupied. And when you ask the technology, when you ask Google, shall I marry or not? It will say you n number of results, how people are enjoying a married life, how people are suffering a married life. And where you are clicking, if the data is being collected, whether you are interested to get married or whether you are looking into a somewhere comfort zone. So it will do an analysis on its own and it say that better you do in this way, your life will be comfortable. To that extent, nowadays AI is playing its vital role. And you know, this handling these youngsters is highly challenging. And looking into this generation with the help of what we can say, everything in terms of business and contract. It is not possible actually. The technological advances in interacting with these people. Even a father and a son sitting at the next room saying good morning and good evening on the WhatsApp chat, right? Whether shall I move to the next room, knock the door and say hi, or shall I send a WhatsApp message? We don't know where the world is moving. And the social media is having a greater technological influence in the process of communication. So here, the social construction, right, of understanding the people. Once when you go to a job, we are a social animal, right? In management theory, we say human is a social animal who wants to move along with others. And I have to make sure that all these things are giving me a comfort zone of living and I am living a peaceful life into this process. So here, when you look into this decent work and the economic growth, even the sustainable developmental goal, they say a decent work, because we are lot of research outputs are coming in. What type of work this young generation is looking for? Whether they are looking for income generation or whether they are looking for a satisfactory job or whether they are looking for a challenging job or they are looking for a comfortable job. Right? They never mean that whether what is the basic qualification, what are the basic skills required in order to execute a task. The basic skill requirement for each and every profession, the basic skill requirement for each and every job, the nature of job, we say job description, job nature, right? Whether I am capable of delivering it or I had been overexploited or I have been underemployed, right? Whether this generation is looking only for money generation or they are looking into some other sort of satisfaction in life. So what is the real requirement and what they really need, what they really understand about this way of life? So here, the controlling aspects, how the communication process is being controlled, how the communication is being delivered. Nowadays, being a HR is a challenging task. Being a marketing guy is also a challenging task. Being a production, to some extent, it is easy because we can easily work with machines rather than work with human beings now. Because the human beings, the capacity, the understanding, the nature, everything differs, and the desire and the intent to regulate the behavior. Right? See, in few countries, they say making a learner to enter into army for at least 1 year or to into a police service or a public service in order to understand how public behave on a given situation, how human beings behave. It is not the matter of public, right? We are not dealing with animals, we are seeing with human beings. So if you go to handling a classroom in online is entirely different rather than handling a classroom in physical mode, right? Few people are expert on handling in physical mode because they have better control mechanism. It is not only the matter of control mechanism, it is a matter of delivery mechanism, right? They are successful in handling chalk and talk method, or you can say using the board, right? Because chalk and talk, chalk has been replaced now with the marker pens. So they are capable of delivering it with the help of their content, and they can able to systematically design it and deliver it in a successful manner. But classes like this in online mode, we have to do homework, we have to prepare PowerPoint slides in order to make the flow easy, and we have to be a technology expert in order to understand and communicate and to handle it effectively. So here the existence of technology and the process of communication becomes equally important, and people who are capable of handling it can become successful, and they are running a successful in a structured dynamic model, and it is being giving effective result rather than general classrooms. So once you look into this, whether aggressive communication is required, whereas in a classroom, in a physical classroom, the way in which we handle the learners is entirely different, whereas in an online mode it is different. The same thing, handling a Gen X generation and a Gen Z generation, we can able to see that what they are looking is the content more than the thing which are available in the internet. But it becomes very unusual to develop such contents. So how we can differentiate is, it is only the method of delivery, right? The pedagogy of teaching learning process. So that is why even the educators, the teachers are being taught Right? There are a lot of people who dislike mathematics because of the teacher who teaches mathematics in a different manner. There are few people who love algebra because of the teacher. Right? The teacher teaches the subject in a pleasant way so that every learner understands it in a systematic manner and enjoys learning the subject. So here, the fact is that one has to be very clear on how these mechanisms are being changed. What is the change we are looking into? Few years back, people read newspapers and now they are also reading newspapers. Previously, we have one or two newspapers coming in. Now we have few thousands of newspapers coming in. It is the choice we have. What news you want to read, what newspaper you want to read, what type of news you want to read, what you would like to read. In olden days, we don't have such choices. So in previous days, when you want to see a news, you have to wait for a specific time. Say, for example, morning 6 o'clock, or by morning 8, or by morning 10, you have a news. So you have to wait for a specific period, but the news is authenticated, the news is valid. Whatever information is shared is clearly relevant and meaningful, and it has been clearly communicated in such a way that the end user gets benefit out of it. But what is happening now, when you look into this generation, they want the things to be delivered at any point in time for my comfort and as I require. And understand, this is the very pathetic situation now. So they are expecting the things to be delivered according to their need, according to their taste, and according to their requirement in their own way. And it does not mean that whether the information delivered is guaranteed, it is relevant, and it is authentic. So now it becomes the user's responsibility to check into the authenticity and the reliability. So here, now people started searching into what is authenticated information, what is reliable information, and how I can able to differentiate between all these relevant, irrelevant, ethical, professional, and all these type of things. So now everything is available inside your technology. So whenever, wherever, whatever you want, you can get it. It is only up to us to decide. And the way in which we are handling it, the way in which we are using it differs the way in which we operate it. And once when we look into this, this is what the real generation gap is. So here, people view it in a different manner, right? So here, there is a huge gap. So what is being delivered and what is being given. So the communication process for this generation, for an learner from an organization, and what is being conveyed to the sender is being accounted in a systematic manner. So once when you look into all this happening, the people born into the internet generation, right? They question everything. Nothing wrong in questioning everything. But are you ready to hear the answer? Do you have the patience of hearing the answer and analyzing it in your own way and understanding the real meaning of what it says and how these things are being handled in a systematic manner, right? Nowadays, people are not interested to learn history. History is a very important subject which everyone must learn. Now we are working into these aspects, and There are a lot of activities are being posted. How these people are being successful in such an digitally disconnected world, right? So we can able to say that nowadays, and banking sector has been totally revolutionized. The education sector has been totally revolutionized. The transport department has been revolutionized. The way in which people speak has been revolutionized. I talk in my own language. The system is not in a way to understand the real meaning, but it can translate into a foreign language and it can transfer it wherever it likes. So here, the tendency, when you look into this, the diversity and the method of delivery mechanism are being given importance into the scale of communication into a virtual world. We are living in a virtually internet connected world where we are doing multitasking at a time. I'm damn sure that out of 52 participants, 50 participants who are here, 10 to 15 people will be engaged in multitasking, thinking that there is nothing wrong. I can hear your voice, I can hear what you are saying, and I can make my brain to work into that manner, and I can concentrate on other work too, and I am doing that task. If a person is capable of doing multitasking, there is nothing wrong in it. But to what extent you successfully deliver it and you fruitfully use your 100% results. So here it means that if you are doing two tasks at a time, we can say that your effectiveness is given 50% for a task and you are only 50% effective for a given single task. But you are achieving two tasks at a time, but not in a fruitful and effective manner. It varies from person to person. There are few people who are capable of doing it. Even there are few people who focus only on one task may do it wrong because of the way of understanding, because of the method of delivering it. So here, when you look into this, the behavior of communication is done directly few people on one-to-one understanding, and there are few people who can do on multifaceted approaches. So here, transforming the workplace, right? How we are communicating with our peer members, how we are communicating with our student friends, how we are communicating with our family members, how we are communicating with the society. So here, the way in which you communicate differs, and the difference between this Gen Y and Gen Z, right? Because we are talking to different level of people on a different mode and on a different tone. So this is a very complex environment, but once when you understand the process is clear, and once your concepts are clear, if you understand your clear responsibility, and if you say, this is what my business is, this is what I am going to deliver, I am damn sure that you are capable of delivering it on a given time and on a given schedule to the expected time of delivery, and it will have a fruitful results. So here, there are few people who do multitasking and multi-challenging environment. It is a capacity of the individual. But the fact is that this generation is looking into others and assuming that a cat can also become a tiger. There is nothing wrong. A cat can become a tiger, but it has to change a lot. Are you ready to face that challenge? If you want to be like a tiger, then you have to start change your eating habits. You have to change your style of living. You have to change your method of consuming foods. You have to change every pattern with which you are being forced to change. So here, the increasing access and the increasing necessity, right? Doing same work. What is happening in the workplace, if it is required and if it is necessary, you are most encouraged. This generation are capable of handling it and capable of doing it. Also, they reject those ideas that are having predefined in nature. And you understand, this is the most important part. This generation always questions the existing theory. Right? Now it becomes our responsibility to answer them. Even I can say, rather than answering them, you have to give them an answer which is acceptable by them. This is the most important part. Because there are few people who simply ask questions and never listen to the answer. Whether I can answer those guys or not. Whether it is my duty and responsibility to answer. Or shall I keep passing all those questions and make them open-minded and less concerned with the norms. So here, the fact is that this generation is an internet generation having different characteristics, having a different style of living, and being information overloaded, how these people are going to face the real world and how I am going to tune them for their future relevance. So here, it is of very important intensity of communication and interacting with all these type of groups with peer pressure, right? Now, what is happening in this is the pressure from different parts are now coming in, and the pressure is acting in a different manner, in a different style, right? People who continuously work can see that how these things are being communicated and how generation gap is there, right? Once when I say a word, they understand it in a different manner and they are interpreting everything in a different manner, and the expected result is also going to be different. So here they are consuming the content. I can able to say they are consuming the content and they are analyzing using their own method, using the internet ideas what they had been already loaded. Just kindly understand, the same problem when given in a different situation will have a different solution. But what this generation will do is they will match everything and they say why I should not proceed like this and why I should not take up a decision in this. Now it becomes a responsibility for me to prepare them for their next requirements. So the predefined models, now people are not ready to accept. You are supposed to give a reliable, meaningful, acceptable, probable, good solution for the problem in a way that this generation can understand and interpret in their own style. So here, what is more important? The significance of this. The fact is that it is like the generations are asking us questions like, why you are saying drinking, smoking, usage of drug and teenage are not good to health. Can you show me the proof? How I am going to answer this generation now on these social aspects? Now people are ready to say that even social medias, the matrimonial services also, you look into that. They are saying they are social drinker and occasional drinker. I don't know what it means, right? It is not only male, even women are also share this type of information. They are saying I am a social drinker, and a few people are saying I am a occasional drinker. So how it whether this is essential and necessity for the society, whether this is of very much importance or significance, and what is the relevance of this? What is the necessity and what is the objectionable matter by the society? So what are all these predefined models now? They are saying you are in a world culture, right? You cannot understand what the society is expecting and what you are expecting from us. So here, when you look into this, you have to understand the gender requirements now. Right? Very a drastic shift in understanding the gender issues, right? How a male behaves and how a female behaves on a given situation. Can I say any job? This is male dominating job. Can I say any job which only female can do? Whether I can talk like this or not, I don't know. Right? Even people will sue me if I say there is a gender differentiation, gender identification, and gender categorization are taking place. Only for a research study we can do that, but the society nowadays are not ready to accept this. Even when we say previously crimes are mostly related to men, but now you are saying crimes are also done by women also. So previously we can say cooking is related to women. Now I think so men is also cooking, or like in few areas men uh, is ready to take the job of house husband, right? I can see some profiles where women says I'm an IT professional and man says I'm a homemaker. Nothing wrong in it, right? Because now the society is accepting it, and nothing wrong in saying that I'm doing this job, I'm doing this task, and I'm ready to take up this, because every profession is having its own gender differentiation, and whether to what extent it is being affecting the society. Right? If it is a technology job, no issue at all. If it is a job of in nature, say for example, today in army, navy, everything we can able to say men and women are equally participating, and they are equally delivering. Not only participating, they are equally delivering. So there is nothing wrong in it. But here the third factor is that now a lot of studies, those who are interested can do a lot of significant studies in the field of third gender, right, transgender. This population is now coming high in number, and day by day, there is an increase in this population, and the behavior, the attitude, the requirements, the necessity, the social relevance of a male, the social relevance of a female, and the social relevance of a transgender. The society is now doing a lot of work, and what is the future of these people and how they are going to manage this in a systematic, effective manner. So understanding the gender in your workplace, understanding the gender according to the work nature, and adjusting ourselves according to it. That is the most important part. Because we are living in a society where there is a change and there are some shift in the system. So here the millennials are now looking into volunteering and doing the service for the future. So they exhibit highly determined behavior. Right? Now we can say our behaviors are being monitored. We are being closely monitored, right? Every time we are being monitored either by a CCTV at home or by a CCTV in a street or by a satellite at the top of us. So we have to be very careful on our behaviors. We have to be very careful on our attitudes. Here, the thing is that if anything which is not acceptable by the society is happening, now this generation is making it very clear and it is being socially proved with the help of the technology. So now what we are talking in terms of gender equality, right? Society has now drastically changed. Previously, we can say that politically, women is not encouraged to participate. Now, we can say that women are equally participating, or I can say women are dominating in the field of politics. Nothing wrong in it. If there are good behavior, there are good attitude, there are good people to lead. There is nothing wrong. Why we are discriminating by the gender? But even the government, we can able to see that in army. Now we can able to see a lot of men and women equally contribute, not only in terms of technology, even in terms of weapon handling. Because it's a sort of skill, right? So even transgenders are now coming in. But when we really look into this, to what extent this previously male female differentiation was there, now we can, if you move in a public, you can able to see the different treatment between a man, women, and a transgender. So now the society is socially eradicating these changes, and because every person has to be treated as a human being. It is the the hormonal imbalances which are happening inside the body, and now they are being treated in a different manner. And we have to say, we have to respect every people, what is the sort of skill they have. Previously, driving profession dominates by male. Now, female drivers are available. Auto drivers, female auto drivers are available. Even nowadays, cab drivers are men and women are equally contributing. Not only men and women, the transgender are also equally contributing. Previously, the food chain was dominating by male. Now, the food supply chain are also done by women also. So we can able to see everywhere, we can see a man and a woman and a transgender are equally contributing. It is the skill set. It is really the skill set what everyone is looking into and what everyone is expected to do. So when you look into this, right, it is only the matter of what is the type of knowledge what you have. It is not your physique. It is not a movie where your physique is more important, right? Even in a movie now, people are looking for different character, different physique they are looking into, right? So here the important thing is that it is not important that what you learn or what you know. It is very important that what you do with what you know. You had learned something and you had been trained in a systematic manner, and you had been taught to do certain activities, whether you are delivering it for a purposeful cause and whether you are delivering it for a good intention. So here people are clearly watching you for what you are delivering, right? It is not the matter of what you learn. Even we can see the leaders, right? The leaders motivate their subordinates and giving them a secret formula and changes every human life of their subordinate. This is what is more important. So here it is very important to think beyond racial, sexual, and gender differentiation. So once when you think globally, right? If you work in now we can able to see foreign institutes are opening their branches, they're opening their university colleges in India, right? I think so. 3 foreign universities are going to start their own colleges during this year. Maybe soon another list of institutes will come and open here. So if you want to learn from a foreign university now, it is not important that you want to go to a foreign country and learn. Now foreign universities are coming to our doorstep and they are ready to deliver what we expect and what we require. Are we really looking into the content or are we really looking into the degree from a foreign university? So here what you learn is more important and what you are really understanding of the subject matter is more important. And what is the type of analysis, right? With the volume of data available with you, what is the type of analysis which you are doing? And with the sort of analysis, what is the decision with which you are taking? See, here, the fact is that 1/3 of the data is going to be irrelevant if you do it in a systematic, analytical manner. So the remaining 1/3 is going to be giving you a confused result. Now you have to segregate those data, you have to segregate, you have to differentiate, you have to split the data to identify what is the real truth, and you have to take up a decision with the remaining data available, which is really meaningful and useful and relevant in order to make it successful and revolutionary thinking, right? So here the fact is that you can get the assistance of a technology, right? Using artificial intelligence for a classroom learning, whether it is good or bad, I say it is good, but don't simply take up the matter of the artificial intelligence to the classroom. Take the content of the artificial intelligence, you artificially add your own experience, your own content, your own learning into that, and make sure that those contents are not available on the internet for the learner, so that the classroom will become highly challenged and the learners will also enjoy the learning process. Here the matter is that what you know is not at all important. And nowadays you can learn a subject matter easily, but how you learn and what you really do, because the process is more important. The process is more important, and what you really mean from that, what you really mean. It is not the matter of whether you know the subject matter. It is not only just scoring school first or state first or national first. What you have to understand the importance is the real meaning, the real understanding of the society, and the real nature of what is being taught. And even we can say the unsaid theory are also said to be learned. You have to read between sentences, you have to read between words, you have to read between punctuation marks. If you are capable of doing it, the real value is being entered and it is being really sought into the process. So the technology will as only assist, and in most of the time it distracts us rather than giving a solution. So when you look into this process, I don't know how many of you have experience on playing this Angry Birds. It's a very fantastic game. When you are angry, when you are distracted, right, you can enjoy playing this game because it reduces anger psychologically. I don't know whether it is true or not. Most of the people have said, when I am angry, I play this game. Whether this game is created for that nature, I don't know. But the saying is that most of the people who are angry are playing Angry Birds. We don't know whether the name was given in such a way. But once you look into the history of this game, right? Three people started this company. They want to dominate in the gaming industry. Those are all experienced guys who wants to start their own company. And because, people are fond of playing games and they want the technology to get dominated, and making use of the technology, they started developing games. What happened? They started delivering first game, second game, third game. They started delivering it and delivering it to the society. But the games are not much acceptable by the public, and it has not been given significant importance, and it has not given them the significant result and the outcome also. The expected results is not that. Because this is what the reality is. You have to understand the reality. You may be an expert, nothing wrong in it, but all your expertise skill will not deliver you expected result and will not make you a rich person, not in terms of money, but also in terms of value. So they had delivered 50 games, and all the 50 games was not delivering the expected result. I'm not saying it is a failure. Those games are not delivering them the expected result. After a long discussion and after a long gap, right, in a vexed mode, they started developing one more game and named that game as Angry Bird, right? And they sketched the idea, stating that, okay, in this situation, what should I do? What should people do? And how people behave? And sketched these psychological factors, delivered it in a social media, and that becomes a high hit and it becomes a success. So here, the technology of life for the millennials to believe the answer that always success will not come immediately, but one day success will come. But you have to continuously make effort, and you must be in a position of connecting and impatiently waiting, right? You must have the patience, you must have the tolerance, you must have the capacity to continuously learn from the mistakes. What mistakes I have done. But it is very easy to learn from the mistake of others rather than pointing the mistake of others. If you had a chance of learning from the mistake of others, your life will become easy and the learning will become cheaper, right? Because if you learn by committing a mistake, the expense of coming back will be high. Whereas if you learn from the mistake of others, your expense will be less. So here, the important thing is that the learning happening at every moment and the delivering mechanism assigned with every task. So whether these three people have started thinking of designing Angry Bird, a similar to Angry Bird like game? No, it is not. It was not planned. It was instant. Because of the continuous failures and the continuous mismatch what the society has not been accepted, even I can say that in an angry mood, they had created this Angry Birds. Right? Even if you have free time, you just start play and enjoy, right? You can relax. So here, whether it is really giving the importance or not, but the way in which the games are being designed in such a way, right? Even the young generation are now playing PUBG, and there are a lot of games government would like to ban soon because whether you are playing for joy, it's okay. If you are playing for gambling, we don't know to what extent it is going to deliver. So here, this generation, what they are really seeing it as a experience in cyberbullying and online issues. So there are a lot of education is being given to them on online frauds. Right? This young generation, they prefer to have expertise the connectivity and assume that they know everything. Even one of my student said, he was continuously investing in online share market, and he was being somewhere trapped by some technology user. He was asked to share his screen, right? Because his password and ID was hacked. And during the chat discussion, he was requested to share the screen for this online trading. Without knowing the consequences, he shared the screen. Like now, I am sharing my screen with you all, right? Now, what that person at the other side done? He sent an request for change of password. Immediately the pop-up, the OTP pop-up came on the screen. Since the screen is shared, right? The person at the opposite side captured that OTP before this person realized that it is a OTP for change of password. The cyber criminal hacked that OTP, changed the password, hacked his account, and made his balance zero. So that student is asking me, sir, shall I give you a cyber action? Shall I give you a cyber complaint? I said, okay, you can raise a complaint, but since they hacked your password, every transaction is being assuming to be authenticated and authorized by the authorized user, by the owner. It will be very difficult to trace back, but anyhow, it is possible. We have done it in a different manner. But kindly understand, while sharing the screen, you have to be very careful. Right? There are a lot of cyber hackers who are continuously monitoring us and looking into easy way of handling it and easy way of managing it. So here, what are all the various things happening in the workplace? One has to be very careful. If you are not in a position to understand, then you have to be very careful and seek your seniors' ideas, thoughts into this. So, looking into all these facts, you have to understand that how your work environment is happening and how your workplace is changing now. So, looking into these facts, how your workplace behaves, right? Even though we had seen, we had discussed a few points already, how this generation behave in your workplace, right? They ask for value, transparency, and authenticity. Whether can I give everything in a form? Everything can be given in a recorded form, we don't know. But the authenticity of what is expected from you, the authenticity, because previous days we look for job security, but this generation is not looking for job security, right? They are ready to quit the job if they are not happy with the job. If they are ready to quit the job if they dislike the boss. They are ready to quit the job if they dislike the job. If they dislike the job is okay, but if they dislike the boss, they never bother, or they are not in a position to tolerate, to adjust, to accommodate. It does not mean that they have to accommodate. You'll understand. Here it does not mean that we are forcing them. No, we are not forcing. Right? You adjust for few days. You try to learn why the man is behaving, why my boss is behaving like this. Later, if you understand there is a truth, there is a truth beyond that, then you accept it. You have a discussion with the boss but to what extent we can share. Right? Certain job secrets cannot be shared openly. And there are a lot of time looking into the large numbers, right? We cannot run the show simply everything by the help of the timely decision making, because it is not a entertainment business, right? Decisions on business, if I take up a wrong decision, I am answerable and my boss is answerable. So if your decisions are not being accepted, it does not mean that it is not the validity of my decision. It is a validity of my decision at the current point in time. Then you have to openly discuss with your boss, with your seniors, with your colleagues, with your subordinates. There is nothing wrong. Right? This generation are open for discussion with the subordinates. That is a welcoming move. Right? Wherever knowledge is there, we go and tap it, we go and take it. So with this given perspective, these generation are capable of reducing the inequalities. Right? Let us say people are same because we all here to run the business. Let us run the business. You run the business at your level. I contribute to the business to my level, possible extent. So here, the fact of contribution, the amount of contribution varies from person to person, and there are splitted responsibilities, right? Everyone is challenging and committing to their task, and the design of the work nature is such a way that it goes in a sequential manner and delivering it for a successful purpose. With all these good intention, companies are now hiring and connecting with the people, right? Even few companies insist if they send a message. Nowadays, circulars are being circulated only in social media, not in an open social media, but an internal network mechanism, right? Every company, every corporate, every government is having its own internal net connectivity, and every messages to various levels are being transmitted or being communicated within the circle, within the given circle, and within the given circumference, those informations are being transformed. So here, when you look into these values, to what extent that the information can be shared, and who are all the broadcasters of this, and what is the firm authenticity of the data, what is being shared in the first and the last task. Right? Can I share a patient data? No. When you look into hospitals, every hospital must enter into a safety record, right? They have to share all the data with the government, but not a single data with the public. You'll understand. This is the rule which every hospital must follow. Whatever the government says, every hospital has to obey and follow. And whatever data, see, whatever test we can say, every patient is undergoing various forms of medical tests. All the relevant medical tests, government clearly says if a hospital buys a equipment, special equipment, it has to inform to the government, and the government will instruct the hospitals to submit all the data scanned on that particular equipment for a specific purpose. See, the purpose and usage may not be open to the public, and it may not be given open access to all. But kindly understand, the government is doing it for a cause. Like that's the same. Every business will collect its own data, their own data, its own data, and it's maintaining its own data for a specific purpose, which cannot be shared with a competitor. Say, I think so. Few years back, there are a lot of cases stating that the Facebook data was being leaked, and there are a lot of Gmail passwords available, lakhs of passwords available on Gmail ID, so that every who wants access to others' mail can use it. Like that, Zomato data was being hacked, Uber data was being hacked. What I am going to do with Uber data? You and me are not going to do anything with Uber data, but the competitor of Uber say Voila may look into those data, like they look into the customer contact numbers and database. They get to the time at which they travel, they get to the frequency of travel, they get to the place of travel, they get to the necessity and the records of all those data. They analyze those data, they send customer communication, and they enter into the competitive business in an unethical manner. So what this workplace nature is, you have to understand that we say bank data are also highly confidential. Bank data, it means that it does not mean that only the account balance. The account holders data are also important for a competitor. Say for example, State Bank of India customers data is highly required by a Indian bank, because Indian bank is also a competitive bank. They send a message to the State Bank customers asking them to open account in their bank. So it does not mean that only the account balance of the customers are important. Account balance is important for the account holder, and it is between the bank and the customer. But what these banks are looking into, so the security is more important, right? In workplace, transparency and security are more important for them. So if you have any question, let us have last 5 to 10 minutes for Q&A. It is not the question only for me. Anyone who knows the answer can share and share your experience with this, because all faculties will definitely face all these type of challenges, and we are also in the process of learning continuously. So with a lot of effort, we are attending this FDP, right? So in the last 1 or 2 slides, I will finish it off, right? So here, what is this? Trends and decisions are being taken. With this, I will stop my session. The last few minutes we can have for Q&A. So what this trends and decision, whether my decision, my trend, my data, my analysis is old or it is young. So old way of doing is good, but in a young style it has to do. Previously we take lot of efforts for the process. Now the process with the help of the technology is very easy, and it is very easy to deliver using the technology. So if you know how to handle the technology, previously without technology we managed everything. Now with the technology we manage in a easy, comfortable manner. That's all. So here, whether we are looking into how many users are going to use this, or we are going to have only few users. It is not only having the concept of many and few, but it is also the concept of the value of the many and the value of the few. I have only few friends who are very close. I have many friends on social media, which will be good and which will be really meaningful. You can understand, and you can easily come up to a conclusion whether you are looking for many or whether you are looking for few. If you are looking for few quality outputs, then it is good, rather than looking into many which are useless in nature. It does not mean that the many is not required. You have to convert that many into few and identify those few who are relevant, who are meaningful, and who can able to deliver the expected results. So what these people are now looking into, what they are looking from us, what this young generation is looking into. Right? They are saying you people are old, you don't know how to use the technology. Yes. So make use of the technology, try to learn how to use the technology, use AI, use ChatGPT, use all advanced softwares available. Try to learn. First we learn, then let us transform. Now giving an assignment is a challenge. When you ask ChatGPT to develop a question for an assignment on strategic management, you give you a current question, it gives a current question.
On the opposite side, the student load the question and say, give a reliable answer. The learner generates a answer and submit it to us. Here, the learning is 0, but the content delivered is 100%.
There is no meaning into this learning process. Now, you must be an expert to understand that this is being the content developed by AI, and ask the student to answer the question to make sure that he or she really understand what is the content on what's written and what was submitted. Yeah, using a technology, there is nothing wrong, but are we really satisfying the site purpose? Are we really delivering the mechanism what is expected and what is expected to deliver? If that is being achieved, then the expected results are also welcome. So handling this young generation in a classroom as well as in a workplace is a great challenge. But they are all human beings. So it is very easy to handle if we can able to go in their way and make them to understand that this is how you have to do it, and this is what the better way of doing, and this is what the expected results is going to be delivered, and this is the way you can deliver it. If we give people, always there are good people to understand these aspects, and those people are always ready to understand and deliver as per the expectations of the society, and will deliver good results in the days to come. So with these short things, let me close my session. And if you have any specific questions, we can have, or otherwise we'll close the session. Thank you very much. Sir, over to you, sir.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable insights. I have one query, sir. When it comes to the execution part, it will be like as an academician, we may face difficulty. So, what kind of challenges we need to understand from these kind of learnings?
Yes, madam. As you rightly said, we face lot of challenges, right? It is not only addressing the youngsters in a straightforward manner, but we have to address those people in a polite and in a acceptable form. That is the most important thing. So what we have to understand is we are not expected to say the right answer. We are expected to deliver even a question which can answer them, which can make them to think, and which can make them to understand what the reality is. Previous days, they ask us to deliver the results. They ask question to learn to understand. But now they are asking question only to challenge us. So now we have to understand that we have to answer those queries in a systematic way rather than addressing it directly. We have to address it in terms of what they know and what they can think and deliver.
Sir, what is the role of higher education institutions like in functioning of the faculty without any smoothly without any glitches? How exactly we can do this kind of exercise? In order to do that, in order to address the Gen Z, what kind of facilities will be provided by HES, higher education institution, for the faculty members?
The first thing is that all higher education institutions are now encouraging to make use of the technology. The older school of thought, the old way of teaching learning process is being reshaped and remodified. Now what we are expected to deliver is, we are expected to give what is going to be delivered for the next 20, 30 hours, or we can say the whole subject content has to be uploaded. And we can ask them to come prepared for the class. And there is no meaning in giving them the fundamental theories, because it is expected for them to learn on their own. But whether it is possible at every stage of learning, now trial version is taking place. Now trial process is on. Whether all learners can do this, again, that is a question. There are few learners who has to be taught in a classroom. So we are categorizing students, slow learners and beginners, and at various level we are categorizing them, focusing on them. And all higher educational institution first encourages faculty members to make use of this technology, faculty members to be trained, faculty members to make sure that they adopt this technology. So first thing, institutes are ready to accept. Institutes give the facilities, institutes give the infrastructure, first to the faculty member, train them, make them ready, and then transform it to the students. Automatically, the learners will also come up and they can faith up the society at large. This is what the process is. This is what is happening also.
Yes, sir. Thank you for your valuable insight. Even higher education, it is general view, sir, my view. Even
Yes,
higher
ma'am.
education institutions also bit reduce the burden on the faculties, like assigning additional responsibilities, academic, apart from academic. They are giving us the other administrative tasks as well. That has to be slightly reduced so that the teaching fraternity can also empower themselves with new age learning technologies.
Yes, yes, madam. That is also one part, but to some extent, every teacher must also involve themselves into the administrative part, because they must also know the other side of the student process, right? If you totally terminate from that process, then we are not in a position to understand what, because teaching is not only teaching. That is, teaching and administration is also there. Teaching and research is also there. Teaching and learning is also there. A teacher has to be a multifaceted personality. So, but to what extent we give importance to everything? What is the percentage of importance for teaching? What is the percentage of importance for administration? What is the percentage for research? What is the percentage for other activities? So that a educational institution has to say, and every individual has to give significant importance for various aspects which they are ready to take. Because every individual skill varies, right? So the skill of the individual has to be utilized for the growth of the institute as well as the growth for the students. That's all.
Yes, sir. Thank you for your valuable insights.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your informative session. Dear participants, if you have any questions, you can kindly post it in the chat box, or you can unmute your mic, you can ask questions.
तिचं कधी कधी तर मूड चांगला असतो कधी तरच
Dear
मूड चांगला
participants,
असतो
if you have any questions, kindly Thank you, sir. I extend my heartfelt thanks to our management for providing this opportunity, and my special thanks to our speaker, Dr. S.K. Nagarajan, sir, for sharing his valuable insight. Last but not least, I thank all the participants for their uh, active engagement. Once again, I thank you all. Thank you, sir. Has been posted in the chat box.